Okay, hi guys. So today we're gonna be doing a little watercolor mm, sketch. So I prepared already my drawings. So I'm into this kitchen theme this week. So what I will be doing, as yesterday I did also stream um, live, but I think it doesn't record very well, and I had a comment from one of the subscribers that it doesn't record very well and you can't see very well what actually I am doing. So I'm gonna be recording videos and posting them like I was doing before. So here what I have is already a prepared sketch. I thought that's gonna take too long otherwise, and we can start already applying the color. If you would like to see the sketch process, then do let me know, and I would love to hear from you in the comments. But for now, I'm gonna take my synthetic brush, have my trusty napkin here. Could have taken a clean one, I know, but it's okay. So what I'm thinking here is to go with one color theme. So first of all, I wanted to show you the paper. Also, yesterday I was doing a sketch on Canson, but I don't know, that paper doesn't convince me. And this is what is it? SMLT art. I don't even know what that is. Mixed media pad that I got from the local arts and crafts shop. So it has a bit more texture to it, and I'm gonna be laying it flat. I'm not even taping it because I'm not gonna be doing a lot of layers, so it's not gonna be all, it's not gonna go all bubbly on me. So what I want to do is I want to first cover my first layer with white, and I dropped my napkin very well because I want my enamel. How do you pronounce that? How do you pronounce that? Enamel wear to be white with accents of blue or red. I still didn't decide, so in the meantime I will go and mix up my whites. So here I have an initial mix that I already did yesterday. So basically it's red, blue, and yellow. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my red, I'm going to add in my blue, and when it's purple enough I'm going to add in my yellow. So here I have a bit of yellow. So I'm looking at the mixture. So I really want it to be quite watery, and I see that it's too yellow. I will add a bit more blue into it, and I need a lot of water. So what we can do is take another sheet of paper, the ones that I used up already, and I'm going to be testing out my colors here. So this is just, don't look at it that it's horrible. So what I'm doing is I'm adding more water. I hope you can see the drawing good. Just checking it. And I think I'm lacking a bit of red in here. I want to mix up that nice grayish color that will give me white. So as you know, now let's think through our highlights, because yesterday what I did here, I'm going to test it out to see if it's white enough. I think it's going to be good enough. It's going to dry out. We can add a bit more water even. So yesterday I didn't map out my highlights, which I learned from. So today what we're going to do is we're going to map out the highlights instantly. So here in this jug, what we're going to do is we will create a highlight with a gel pen, then on top on the rim, but I want to add a little highlight over here. Okay, so here as well we're going to be doing just a little highlight and maybe another one over here, and on this one adding a bit of a highlight here, so I'm mapping out the highlights where they could probably be. A cup, little highlight here, little highlight there. There we go. I think that's it. I think we've done a good job with highlights. Anyway, this is an illustration, so it doesn't have to be perfect, realistic, like the highlights are in real life. So I'm still mixing in a bit of blue. I want it to be, so it's quite dark. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a bit more water here, and I will cover all of them with this mixture because all of my, yeah, this is good, all of my animal wear will be white. If I decide that I want the lid to be blue, for example, or so if I decide to change the colors, I can color over the top, but this one is going to be unifying all of the illustrations into one. You can also find the reference board that I made on Pinterest. I will add it to the video, okay? So the link, so you can go and download the reference board. Sorry, you can see the reference board, okay? So now that I mixed my white, which doesn't look white, I know, but we can start, and I'm going to start from the left corner and move towards the bottom right corner so as not to smudge anything, okay? So I can see that this one was quite dark, so I'm gonna still add more water. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so here I'm going to go into my spoons as well. And in watercolor, what you have to remember is that you have to keep that water drop always wet, the one that you're actually moving around. Otherwise, it's going to create those hard edges. Depending on what you want to do, you might want to keep a hard edge here and there. But if you are planning to do one smooth wash, then you have to keep it wet on all the ends towards where you're moving the color. So here I'm going to paint my ladle, which is going to be a different color, but for now, just to unify the things. And also this, I don't know how you call it, it's not the skillet, I don't know how you call this thing. This is going to be metallic. Okay, so I'm keeping the water drop alive and moving down. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be dropping in a bit of color into our whites just to make them a bit more interesting. This is actually a synthetic brush and it picks up just enough water for small illustrations. Okay, so here the handle is going to be a different color, but we're going to add this white into it as well. So now what I want to do is I want to activate a bit of my reds. Too red. A bit more water. Add a bit of red here and there. Move it around. Add a bit of yellow here and there, also watery. So to give it a bit more interesting look, and a bit of blues, just a bit, very watered down. So it's going to dry out and be a lot lighter, but at the same time we are going to have a bit of color there, not just this one same old dull gray color. Okay, so I'm gonna go into, let's go from the top, let's go here again, reserving the highlights, moving the water droplet, There we go. Adding more water for now, then we can always pick it up with a drier brush. If you're having problem painting so small, then you can take either a bigger sketchbook or a smaller brush. The problem with a smaller brush is that you will get less water in it as well, so you won't be able to move the water. You will have to pick up the color from the puddle that you create more often. So here we have the second one, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm picking up a bit of yellow, very light yellow. I'm gonna put it in here. Then I'm picking up a bit of red, and just a bit of blue to make it more interesting. Okay, and I'm gonna let it dry for now. Let's go to this one now. So I said yesterday already, I don't know if you've seen yesterday's live, but I'm like mesmerized by vintage and antique stuff, and I have normal usual stuff in the kitchen. I don't have all these antique or vintage things, but in an illustration, I prefer to draw something that is not modern. I prefer to draw something that is kind of grandma-like. Gives it a bit more coziness. And okay, so here again I'm moving the color around, and I'm picking out the excess water. So I'm gonna again drop in some reds here and there. Adding a bit of that color more, so just to mix those reds in. Then I'm picking up a bit of blue, dropping it in, so we can add a bit more blue. And then I'm picking up a little bit of that yellow. Okay, and now let's let it all mix. There we go. So this is the first layer, if you can see it good. Okay, so let's go to our milk jug. Again, dipping into the puddle. As you can see, I made a lot of mixture for this white, like so as not to run out of it, and that I don't get caught in the process while I'm painting, that all of a sudden I run out of the color and I need to mix it up again, and my drop starts drying out, so I'm always adding more. Because once watercolor starts drying out, not an expert in watercolor, but I know that once it starts drying out, it starts to create those hard edges. So that's why we're trying to maintain the drop always wet. And here, yay, I avoided those highlights, so we're gonna keep them white without adding any acrylic on top. Okay, so here I'm going to collect excess water, adding just a bit of reds every now and there, here and there, a bit of yellows, and a bit of blue. And now that I added this blue, I see that there's more puddle creating over here. So I'm gonna lift it out just not to make any flowers bloom on my first wash. Okay, so you can see that it's all even, and we have a bit of color even though it's white, our animal wear. Sorry, got carried away. Okay, so here again, going over, and the thing is that, as I said yesterday also, I really love how pencil looks through the watercolor. So on purpose, I try to make my pencil lines a bit more visible, so that it gives it charm, the illustration, the pencil that shines through. At least I think so. So if you don't agree, you can always make them less visible and just leave the watercolor. Okay, lifting out the unnecessary water, adding in reds, blues, and yellows. Okay, and what I'm gonna do, if it's too much, I can take water, add some water in here to like mix it up, and then just lift out the unnecessary water so that my colors mix together and it doesn't look like we have some kind of spotty pot. Okay, but I think it looks a lot better than just one color if we just put one color as white and that's it. So this one, I really like the reference here, and I'm gonna keep it similar to the reference. So it has the outside, it has it colorful with white dots, quite kind of big dots, and I really like the big dots. And then on the inside it's completely white, but I'm gonna cover it all now, avoiding my dots, and then cover only the outside with the color. I don't know if it's blue or red, I'm undecided still. Like the handle also. Okay, this became a bit too yellow for my taste, the color, because I was using yellow and mixing it here in the same palette that I had where I had my whites. So I'm going to be adding a bit more blues in there. So here I'm not going to be adding yellows, just adding reds and blues. Okay, let's add a touch of blue. Which one was I using? This one. There we go. Okay, so let's go for the cups, the mugs. Keeping the drop alive, covering it all. I'm gonna go into the second one as well. Like so, lifting out the unnecessary water and adding in some of those reds, a bit of blues, too much, lifting out the water, and here if I added too much, I'm cleaning my brush and just adding water and then lifting out the unnecessary water. Okay, maybe a bit of yellow, maybe just this same water mixture that we had because it's quite yellow. Okay, so we have two left. And I'm going to start with this jug here because it's higher up so I don't smear anything with my hand while I'm painting. The good thing is that when you're painting traditional watercolors and then editing the illustration in Photoshop, you can always fix any mistakes that you make. So here, for example, I ran out of water, so I'm going to add more. And I covered my highlight, but it's okay, there's a bigger highlight there. I'm going to have one brighter and one less bright highlight. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pick out the water here, and I'm going to lift out the color in this highlight bit. There we go, better. Okay, I'm gonna do the handle. More water, more watercolor, not water. So I'm doing the handle, and it's gonna be actually colorful. I already see that it's gonna be colorful, but still, I'm going to cover first everything with the same layer. And here we're gonna add a bit of our reds, a bit of our blues, and a bit of our yellows to make it more interesting. Okay, now the last one. So I'm keeping again my water drop alive and moving around my highlight. Here we go, the handles, and almost done. Okay, and here again, dripping in some of those colors. If it's too much, I'm gonna just lift out the color here and drop it where I dropped my red, so still kind of tone it down a bit. Take my blues and take my yellows. Okay, so this is our first layer, and while this part dries we can start working on the other side already. And what we're going to do now is we're going to start thinking, what colors do we want to make all our animal like cookware. So I'm thinking of going white and blue. So I'm thinking of making this one completely blue, but I still have my white mix, so I'm not going to get rid of it. But now I'm going to mix up my blues first so that I can paint the blue parts on the objects that we already painted white as a base layer, and then we start adding the coat of blue on top. So I'm gonna turn it a bit, and I want to leave the inside actually white, and the rim I'm going to think about I'm thinking of adding maybe black or maybe making it brighter blue. Let's see. But here what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my blue, I'm going to start adding the color on top, and careful not to move it too much on the paper so as not to move the bottom layer. So we have already the bottom layer, which is going to shine through, which is white, and it's going to unify the whole picture. Okay. Like so. Okay, and I'm going to take a less diluted blue. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to create the shadow now. So I'm going to go under this line and on this side I'm going to create a shadow. So already, while it's still wet, I'm adding less diluted blue, the same pigment, the same color, but into the wet, and it's going to create that kind of 3D effect. And also on the parts where we have that handle actually connect to our mug, we're gonna add it. Okay, so in these two, I'm thinking of making one of them, one of the skillets, how do you call them? I'm thinking of making one of them blue and the other one white. So the inside one is going to be white and the outside one is going to be blue, or the other way around. Let's do the inside one blue. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to take my blue mixture. I'm going to take this inside piece of kitchenware and paint it like so. But I want my inside parts to actually be white on both of them, like so. Then I'm taking my less diluted color here and I'm adding instantly the shadow. So the shadow goes under the rim here, and as it goes inside. Okay, here I'm going to lift it out, I don't need it. Looking at the water amount. Okay, and then with my more diluted mix, I'm going to add the handle here. I'm thinking maybe we can make both of them blue. Yeah, let's make both of them blue. Here I'm going to add a bit more to where the handle is actually connecting. Okay. And this one, let's make it also blue. Because the insides are going to be white, so it's going to be fine. It's going to be quite interesting. And I'm going to let it dry a bit until it gets all like just the sheen, like here. There's just the sheen of water. So to add that shadow in a more controlled way. So here, this one's going to have a shadow like so. And this one is going to have a shadow on the left side here. And under this lip as well. And the handle. This one is too thick. The pigment here is too thick, so I'm going to take just water and pull it out into the whole handle. And now the handle, we also can add a bit of shadow to the handle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the thicker paint. Just looking that here I have enough of a shadow already. And I'm going to add it at the bottom here and at the bottom on this side as well. Okay, so it's coming out quite nice, yes. Okay, so here, this one I want to leave it white, but I want to make the lid blue. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my blue cover only the lid, and this thing is going to be black, so I'm going to cover it also. the handle. So I'm pulling out the color. Try not to disturb too much the layer underneath. Okay, taking away the water, I'm gonna give the handles the same blue color. And now we're gonna add a bit of shadow into this blue by adding a thicker color like we did on the previous ones. So here, there's going to be a shadow where it actually connects, like so, and more shadow on the right side because we have the light coming from the left, and this part as well. There we go. And the same goes for our handles. I'm just gonna add a bit of shadow on the inside here and towards the bottom. And this one already dried, so I'm gonna take a bit of water just to move a bit the color around. Okay, so now this one is going to be white with a blue handle and blue lines through it. That I know already. This one is going to be white on the inside with blue on the outside. So as we're doing everything blue, just in one color. Like so. The handle as well. Being careful around these circles. Like so. Actually, I'm thinking we should have covered them with the white mix as well, these circles. But it's okay. Alright. So, taking the thicker color and adding the shadow under the lip. And on this side, we have the connection to the handle, and also towards the bottom. Okay, there we go. Nice. So, okay, this one is gonna have the same thing happening. Here, I want to keep it white. The only thing that I'm gonna be blue is the lid. Just to kind of tie it in with the rest of the composition that we have. But the rest I want to keep it white. Take away a bit the pigment because it's very saturated. Okay, adding more blue where we have the connection of the shapes. There we go. So here I want the lid to be white and blue. Let's make it more interesting. So only this part of the lid is going to be blue. so. Okay, and I'm gonna add a bit more shadowy parts. Where we have the shapes connecting. There we go, and then we have lines here that I will make with a thinner brush. Let's do the mugs. First wash. And we add the shadow now. Like so, and where we have the handle connecting. Okay, let's do the same thing for the second mug. It's very calming to work in watercolors, to be honest. Okay, and we do the same thing. We take the thicker color. And add that shadow. Okay, now what we have to do is this one and the handle here. The handle here, we can make it now. This jug, again, where it connects, I will add a bit more pigment. And a bit here, just to give it more interest. Okay, and now this thing. So the handles and the outside is gonna be blue. Get more paint so that we have the live water drop. Okay. There we go, also the handle on this side. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take more saturated pigment and add the shadow. So here at the bottom, over here, and here at the bottom, but we will need to work on it a bit more then. And where we have the handles connecting. Okay, so let's let it dry for now, the blue parts. Then I want to mix up some gray. I'm actually going to take a paint gray to make the metallic parts, like this one here. Too much water. Not mixing up a lot of it, but we just need a bit. Okay. Adding a bit more to where the shadow is going to be, like where it goes kind of on the inside of our jug. Okay, and the same thing, we need to add a bit here, taking away excess water. For now, I'm just painting it in one layer. They can bleed into each other, they're the same color. Okay, and just add a bit of Okay. Then we have the blacks, and we also have the wooden parts. Actually, I'm thinking maybe, yeah, so let's mix up the wooden color. Put the blue into this brown. Okay, so this is gonna be my wooden handle. It's the first layer. I'm not gonna do much here, just adding the first base color. Okay, and here as well. And then on that spoon, the wooden spoon. Actually, I could have made it a bit more yellow, but it's okay. As good as it is, we can add yellow into the second layer. And here the wooden spoon as well. And adding a bit more of this color here towards the bottom. Okay, so for now, what I want to do is I want to start adding shadows that are white. So we have our white mixture. Still recording? Yeah. So we have our white mixture, and for now, I want to start adding the shadows. I'm going to make it just a bit bluer for the shadows, just to make it a bit colder in the white parts. So here, what I know is that here, for example, there's going to be a shadow inside that little hole. There's going to be a shadow here. Then there's going to be a shadow over here. Maybe we need a bit more pigment. Okay, then here there's gonna be a shadow over here. Actually go over these, no problem. And then it's gonna be highlighted over here, like so. And here we're gonna go and smooth out the transition. Okay, I think I need more pigment here. Gonna add a bit more blue, a bit more red, and a bit more yellow, so to make it more pigmented. Okay, for the shadows, this is gonna be better. Kind of purplish. Okay, so I'm gonna drop it in a bit here into these shadows that we created already, like so. Then we're gonna add the shadow under here, because the light is coming in from the right side. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to soften the edge with a wet brush. Like so. I'm lifting out the unnecessary. Okay. Then here, it's going to be, this part is going to be the shadow here on the inside, because this part is going to be lit. If you look at the reference, you will see. Then cleaning my brush and just softening it into the right side. Okay. Then here we will have this side in the shadow. Softening the brush, wetting the brush and softening the edge of the shadow. Like so. The same goes for the bottom part, under the lip. And on this side, and at the bottom. And I'm going to soften it a bit with a wet brush. Okay, so now they're starting to get like some 3D appearance. Here we're gonna have, again, under the lip, here, and this is basically a cylinder. Bottom, and the cylinder like so, and softening it. Okay, in the cups, that's the inside part of the cylinder. And then wetting the brush, cleaning it and softening. Like so. And in here, the same principle. On this side. And then here we're gonna have that light side. Okay, and now all that's left is a jug. So we're gonna have a bit of dark somewhere there, just to show that it has the inner part, and then basically a cylinder. And the bottom. And we forgot to add it under the lip, so here. So, there we go. Okay. Now, what we have to do is we have to work still on our wood. Adding another layer. And on the spoon, I made it a bit more yellow just to shift a bit the color. Okay. Now, what we can do is on the blue part, we can add this same shadow color. So here, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to add the shadow color the same way as we added it when we were working in the wet technique. Here. Just to keep it consistent. Here. Here we added it. Removing the excess. Okay. give it kind of a bit more interesting look. Okay, and then we will finish it up with pencils as well. Okay. Here it's blacking. Okay, and now when it's dry, what I will do, we just need to add a bit of that metal as well. Here it's gonna be dark. The inside, like so, and a bit of shadow to this thing where they touch with the ladle. Okay, so for now, it's almost done. I'm just gonna take my tiny brush. Tiny brush. And there's a tiny brush. And I have a tinier brush. Okay, this is gonna have to do. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take not very diluted blue. Let's see. To add those decor lines. There. There. There we go. Nice. The same thing goes for this one. Have to make sure that it's all dry, because otherwise it's gonna go and bleed. There, and let's add one. Line over here. And I'm thinking on this milk jug I'm gonna add just a couple of lines as well. There we go. Now what I want to do is I'm gonna let this dry, but I'm gonna take my pencils. So I'm gonna remove my watercolors and take my pencils and my sharpener. And I want to choose my black for the rims, and let's see if this is sharp enough. Yes, but I'm thinking maybe I should do it with the watercolor. Let's try doing it with the watercolors first, and then adding the pencil on top. So I'm gonna remove this, bring back my watercolor, my little brush, and with the little brush, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take Payne's Gray that is quite undiluted. Just gonna wet it and use it as my black. So let's see. Let's do it here. Okay, seems to work. If you have trouble with the tiny brush, then use pencils. Seriously, can get a similar effect. Okay, hope you can see it. Let me just check that it's all recording. Just gonna plug my phone, otherwise I'm afraid it's going to die. Okay. Yep, there were 3% left. Okay, so this one is 1. Gonna add more here, and we're gonna go the same way. There we go. Same goes for here. And we're gonna do this part also black. There. Then let's turn it around so I can have a better grip on these tips. The paintbrush tip. There we go. Oh, it's already looking better. Same goes here. Right. Let's do this one first. There we go. And here. Hi. Let's finish up these, and then we will do in the next video, we will do the final finishing touches. I will be adding that one, I think, tomorrow. So we'll be adding some finishing touches to the... I'm recording. Recording, now almost done. With the pencils. So there's another one, and the last one. Yay, the last lip. So I'm gonna just check that it's not too watery. And there we go. All right, so for now, for today, this is it. What we're going to be doing tomorrow is we're going to be adding finishing touches, and then I'm thinking of putting it into Photoshop to actually cut these out and putting them good into pretty illustration that we can share online. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be back with pastels soon, I promise. Bye.